every real-life glitch explained in 11 minutes. Lock in, chat. Let's go.
Deja vu. The accidental save reload. You walk into a cafe. The clatter of a tray. The low hum of conversation. The barista calling out an order. A name you already know before she says it. A black cat dashes past your legs.
Oh, not the black.
And
The black
it
cat.
hits you. You have seen this before. Exactly this. You don't just recognize the moment. You remember what happens next. The man at the window will check his watch. The woman at the counter will drop her keys. In 10 seconds, the door will swing open, but you already know who's coming through. Science says deja vu is a glitch, a brain misfire, a small processing error where your mind accidentally flags the present as a past memory. And if deja vu is just a brain error, why does...
Dude, deja vu is actually one of the most interesting things ever, because I'll literally... I want to know what he's going to explain this as, because I vividly will, like, I've been here before, bro. But what I've heard is that whenever you get deja vu, you're theoretically in the right place, where you're supposed to be. So it's almost like a comforting thing. But, like, bro, why does everyone get this? There's got to be a deeper meaning to this. So I'm interested in what this guy's going to explain this as.
Does it feel so eerily accurate? Some believe deja vu isn't a glitch at all. It's proof that time isn't linear. That you've lived this moment before, that maybe you are in a loop, or worse, you've died in another timeline. And if that's true,
can GTA 6 just please come out, bro? Oh my gosh, if this is possible, if we're living in a loop, there's no way. Can we just please have GTA 6 or something, bro? Like, bro, can we please have GTA 6? I can't even believe it, bro.
How many times have you already been here? Mandela Effect. Reality patches while you're AFK. Let's do a test. Does Pikachu have a black tip on his tail? Think
yes.
Carefully. You've seen Pikachu 1,000 times.
Yes, he does.
On cards and games and movies. You know what he looks like. So yes or no? If you said yes,
does it say it right there?
Congratulations. You've just experienced the Mandela Effect. Pikachu has never had a black tip on his tail. Not in the game.
Are we being dead-us right now? There's genuinely no shot. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? There's no way.
Not in the anime. Not anywhere.
I'm looking this up. I don't care.
People swear he did.
I'm looking this up. I don't care.
All right, let's try another one. Does the Monopoly man wear a monocle? Of course he does. You've seen him.
Yeah, right?
The rich old man with a top
But let me
hat
guess,
and
he
suit and
doesn't
that
wear
little
it.
monocle over his eye. Except he doesn't. He never has. The Mandela Effect is the strange phenomenon where large groups of people all remember something one way, only to find out that it never existed like that. At least, not anymore. The name comes from Nelson Mandela. Huge numbers of people remember him dying in prison in the 1980s. They recall watching the funeral on TV, seeing the headlines, even discussing it in school. Except that never happened. He was released, went on to become president.
There was never one!
And died in 2013. So how do millions of people share the same false memory? The official explanation is that human memory is bad. It's faulty, unreliable. A few people misremember something, then they tell others, and before long, the false memory spreads like a virus. If so many people remember things one way, but history says otherwise, what if history changed? What if these are updates to reality, small server-side patches that overwrite the past, but leave behind a few glitches? What if you just didn't get the update?
Yeah, but like, you know, what if they just forgot? You know what I mean? Like, what if someone at the company just decided to change it and wipe out all the other old images? Because there's so many different companies, like the Frosted Flakes, I think, is one of them. There's another thing with like Captain Crunch, the Monopoly guy, like what was just said there. I feel like they're just patching these. You know what I mean? And then they're just making us feel like we're crazy. But like, what does this really mean to us?
Some believe this is proof that we're shifting between alternate timelines, that every so often we move into a slightly different version of reality, but our memories don't fully sync. Others think this is just bad maintenance. Reality gets patched, but the developers missed a few details. Either way, if you ever notice something changing that shouldn't be able to change, it's
worldwide schizophrenia. Guys, are we just idiots? Let's be honest, bro. Is the human race doomed? Like, if there is other, like, let's just say, are we cooked? Because I think we're just idiots at this point. I feel like I'm losing my mind watching this video now because I don't even know what to do now.
It's already too late. Missing time. The desync error. It's 3:02 p.m. You blink. Now it's 3:47 p.m.
Oh my gosh.
Move. You didn't check your phone.
Oh no.
You weren't distracted. But somehow 45 minutes have disappeared. The official term is highway hypnosis. When your brain zones out and drives on autopilot. It happens on long, repetitive roads. The idea is that your brain is awake, but your memory stops recording. Sounds reasonable.
Wait, this is like when you're driving down the highway, like he's saying somewhat, and then you're just like, I'm driving. Okay. Bozo.
People experience missing time when they're not driving. They'll be sitting at home watching TV, and suddenly it's night. A person cleaning their kitchen looks up at the clock and finds an hour missing. Some say it happens when they're mid-conversation. They'll be talking to a friend, and suddenly the other person is looking at them weird, like they just stopped talking for 5 minutes. Some people say that during missing time, they get the feeling that something else was happening, but they just aren't supposed to.
Do you think cows really get abducted? And what are they doing to the cows? Because what did the cow really do to you? There's been talks about them probing humans, but like, are they probing cows? And is that what they're doing to cows? And then they put the cows back here. And then whenever we have the fruits of the labor of a cow, are we essentially getting reprogrammed by aliens? And so does that mean that essentially we're all gonna be dead in a matter of a few years or something by aliens just by rewiring our brains? Is that why everyone goes crazy? That's probably why world wars happen.
Remember, it's like someone edited the footage, trimmed down the timeline, removed the parts that didn't make the cut. Things we were never meant to see. Bystander Effect. When NPCs refuse to trigger the next event. You're walking down a busy street. A person collapses. They hit the ground completely unconscious. A crowd starts forming and nobody moves. You wait for someone to help. Maybe a doctor, maybe a good Samaritan. But instead, everyone just stands there watching. That's the bystander effect. A bizarre glitch where the more people there are, the less likely anyone is to do something. Because everyone assumes someone else will take action. But because everyone assumes that, nobody does. And it gets weirder. There are cases where entire groups of people have just...
Frickin' yo! What am I looking at right here? What in the actual world am I looking at? I'm looking at a stick figure wiener right now. Are we actually being serious right now? I'm looking at a stick figure wiener pissing on some dude. God bless his soul. What is happening? Oh my gosh.
Stood there watching something horrible happen even when it would have been extremely easy to help. A person choking in a restaurant. A woman being attacked in broad daylight. Even a drowning child. Nobody wants to be the first to move. Nobody wants to take responsibility. It's like they're all stuck in an idle animation, waiting for a main character interaction. And what if, just for a second, we consider the possibility that this isn't just human psychology? What if some people really do function like NPCs? What if some only activate when they're directly prompted? And if that's true, then the next time...
Wait a minute now. You know, I have really thought about this, bro. Have you guys ever gone to the gym? And don't say that I haven't gone to the gym, guys. I've gone to the gym, okay? Now, was this a while ago? Yes. But everyone would go, you would go at your specific time, okay? Let's just say you're going in at, let's say 10 a.m. for like 5 days out of the week, okay? Then let's say something happens and then you go later in the day. Let's say you go at 3 p.m. Let's say you go even at nighttime, bro. There'd be times where I would go, it's like 9 p.m., bro. And I'm seeing the same people that I would see in the morning there. Like, it's like, bro, am I in a simulation, bro? I swear that these are actual NPCs at this point. It makes me actually lose my mind. Because I don't know how that's possible. And it happens every time. You go anytime, you will see someone that you know and recognize. Because they're literally NPCs paid for by the gym.
Time you're in a crowd, look around.
Exactly.
Is everyone really playing the same game as you?
NPCs.
Doppelgangers.
It's
The
gotta be it.
NPC cloning bug. Imagine walking down the street and seeing yourself. Not a look-alike. Not a twin. You. Same face, same outfit, same movements. At first, your brain scrambles for a logical explanation. A coincidence? A weird reflection? But then, it looks at you, and you realize it knows. Throughout history, people have reported seeing their own double, and it's almost never a good thing. One of the most famous cases was Abraham Lincoln. A few days before his assassination...
Brother, that might be the craziest drawing of Abraham Lincoln I've seen in my entire life. That might be the craziest drawing ever. But man, did you hit the nail on the head there.
He reportedly saw his own reflection in a mirror, except there were two of him. One looked normal, the other was ghostly pale. His wife, naturally, did the reasonable thing and decided this meant he was going to die. And then, well, we all know how that turned out. Now, maybe Lincoln was
Wait a minute
tired.
now.
Maybe his brain just filled in an extra image. Or maybe it's just a glitch in the system. Maybe reality accidentally rendered 2 copies of you for a moment. Maybe you just...
Chad, are we living in a simulation, bro? Are we genuinely living in the simulation? There's sometimes where it's like, it's crazy. I'd smash. Colin, how does that have anything to do with what we're talking about right now? W Colin in the chat, by the way. I don't think we're in a simulation. I think everything is real. But there's sometimes with like what I said there with the gym stuff, it's like, I don't understand, you know?
It's got a glimpse of yourself from another time.
This is not me, by the way. I'm not bald.
Something else is trying to take your place. Either way, if you ever see someone who looks exactly like you, walk the other way. Fast.
Oh,
Sleep
okay,
paralysis,
interesting.
The forced cut.
This is where,
Skip.
nah.
It happens in the middle
I
of
can't
the
do
night.
this, bro.
Your eyes snap open.
I can't do this.
You can see your room, your ceiling, the faint glow of the streetlight outside. Everything is normal, except you can't move. Not a single muscle. Your arms, your legs, completely locked. You try to call for help, but your voice won't come out. And then you feel it. A presence. Standing at the edge of your bed.
Dude,
This
I
is
can't.
sleep paralysis.
I
And
can't.
if you haven't experienced
I rebuke this from ever happening to me. This will never happen to me. Oh, heck no. No, 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 no. I'm not doing this. Okay, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna stand on business. I want to make sure that this never happens. This will never happen, bro. I can't. That's me about to smash Lion. Let's get a timeout ban. Let's get a timeout. Let's put at least 10 minutes on Colin. GG's.
it yet? Congratulations. You've avoided one of the worst free trial experiences that the human body has to offer. People describe it as being trapped inside your own body. Science calls it a simple sleep cycle
Nah,
disruption.
bro.
During REM sleep, the body is in a state of muscle atonement
DK actually timed him out. WDK. Mod promotion right there.
to prevent acting out dreams. And if you break this sleep, your brain wakes up, but your muscles are still paralyzed. It's supposed to last a few seconds, maybe a minute at most, but to the people experiencing it, it can feel like a lifetime. And here's where it gets weird, because for some reason, sleep paralysis doesn't just come with paralysis. It comes with company. People across different cultures, across history, across completely separate parts of the world, all describe seeing the exact same thing. A dark silhouette watching them.
Dude.
If this is just a random brain glitch, why are millions of people hallucinating?
Okay, to be fair, now that I'm thinking about it, I might have had a sleep paralysis. I was sleeping over at a friend's house. We were in the living room of all places. In the living room, there was a staircase that went up, and then there was a balcony up there. My head, like I'm laying down, and I can see up to that balcony. I might have been asleep. I'm not sure, bro. But I remember just wide-eyed in that room, and at the top of the balcony, there was a dark silhouette, bro. I'm not even kidding, bro. But to be fair, it was like Darth Vader or something. But it was also like a dark silhouette. But it also was like Darth Vader. You know what I mean? So I was young, but that is the closest I've ever been to this. And it almost is like verbatim. It's exactly what this was. But I remember
The exact same thing. There are 2 possible answers.
Darth Vader literally almost
1,
killed me.
The human brain is hardwired to hallucinate terrifying figures. When
What
it's
in
this
the
state.
AI?
A cruel little evolutionary
Fat
prank
Gordon
designed to make
Ramsay?
an already terrible experience even worse. Or 2, these things are always there, and sleep paralysis is just the one time you are actually able to see them. Spontaneous human combustion, the self-destruct glitch.
Yo.
Imagine you're sitting in your living room reading a book, sipping some tea, nothing out of the ordinary. Then, without warning, you burst into flames. Not like you knocked over a candle flames. Not like your clothes caught.
Does this actually happen, though? I feel like this one's more of a myth than anything right here. YGS, what's good? I untimed him out. W, let's
fire
go.
flames. No, you ignite from the inside out. And by the time someone finds you, there's nothing left but a pile of ash. And maybe a pair of legs that somehow survived.
Was he drinking a cup of piss right there? What's up with the yellow drink there? Is bro drinking piss? Like, what's that, bro? Genuinely.
This is spontaneous human combustion. One of the strangest, most unsettling phenomena ever
Lemonade!
recorded. Science has a lot of answers, but on this one, they're beat. Some half-assed explanations include the wick effect, where body fat acts like candle wax, slowly burning the person over time. But if that's the case, why does it sometimes stop halfway? Take Margaret Hogan, for example. An unusual
A freaking yo. What are these drawings, bro? Genuinely, what is this? What is that, bro? What is this drawing?
hot 89-year-old widow from Dublin. On March the 28th, 1970, she was found
50
burned
years.
almost to nothing in her home. The plastic flowers on the table had melted into sludge, and the television screen 12 feet away was warped beyond recognition. And yet, her feet and both legs below the knees were untouched. An inquest was held. The official cause of death? Burning. The cause of the fire? Unknown. Which means either 1. The human body has a hidden self-destruct button.
What?
2. Some people accidentally trigger an irreversible system error. 3. Reality occasionally just alta 4 people in the most dramatic way possible. Whichever one it is, the conclusion is the same. If one day you start feeling a little
How is it
too
even
warm
possible?
and you're nowhere near an open flame, you might have about 3 seconds to figure out why. Quantum Immortality.
Hey,
The
yo,
real-life
bruh.
respawn glitch. You should be dead. That car missed you by inches.
Respawn.
Lucky? Maybe.
Wait.
Or maybe you just don't die. Quantum immortality is the idea that every time you die, your consciousness jumps. Not to heaven, not to hell, but to the nearest reality.
Okay, bro, I gotta be honest. I don't know if this really implies here, but on the topic of like car crashes, I haven't had any. I will not have any because I'm a really good driver. But there was somewhat of a close call. Where it was like almost like divine intervention in a way, where I'm driving on the highway and it's like a slight turn. My car does pull to the left, which is very annoying, and it screws me over like all the time. And I was distracted or something. Don't do this, guys. Focus on the road here. But then it was like a divine intervention where I jerked it over, but it was almost gonna hit the sidewall action. You know what I mean? So it probably would have been fine. But that's where you just gotta be safe for something like that, bro. You know what I mean? Embarrassing.
Reality where you survived. From your perspective, you never die. You just keep waking up in timelines where you barely made it. Take Frain Selak, a man who should have died multiple times. In 1954, his train derailed into an icy river. 17 people drowned.
That's straight
He
out of a
didn't.
movie.
The next year, he was sucked out of a plane mid-flight and landed in a haystack. Then a bus crash, multiple car crashes, a car explosion.
Brother, at this point, don't even get into anything, bro. It's like you have a curse on you. What in the world is this?
And finally, he won the lottery. From his perspective,
Wait, he won the lot?
he never died. And that's the terrifying part. If quantum immortality is real, then you will never experience your own death. The versions of you that died, you don't remember them, because they're gone. But what happens when there's no timeline left where you survive? Is there a final game over? Or does reality just keep you going? And if that's the case, how long have you actually been alive?
So if you never theoretically died, then how old are we? That was some interesting stuff right there. That made me think, bro. That made me think right there. Nebula chat, let's go.